Hello and welcome to the opening session of the four-part IRS Rail webinar series on the power of digital to inspire rail passenger confidence, produced by the International Railway Summit in association with SBB, the Swiss Federal Railways. Today, in part one of this series, we are going to explore how we can provide a healthy environment for rail passengers, courtesy of our sponsor, Advantech. I'm Jules Omura, the Managing Director of Iris Events, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to this session. So at the last count, we had just over 270 people from 57 countries registered for today. Welcome to those of you attending our webinar for the first time, and welcome back if you've joined us before. Between March and April of this year, we interviewed dozens of leading rail operators from across the world, and without exception, they were all suffering from the impact of the lockdown. They said they were facing a completely unexpected situation and wanted to know what they should be doing and what other operators were doing. We quickly realized that this is actually our job as the organizer of the International Railway Summit to provide a platform to exchange best practices between rail operators, authorities, and the supply industry. I'm grateful that among those operators, SBB has kindly agreed to help us choose the most relevant topics and lead the debate. SBB is one of the most innovative rail operators in the world, and I'm very much looking forward to their contribution to the debate. I'm excited to have the support of leading opinion makers as speakers with us today. In particular, we're fortunate to have the support of Advantech, who is kindly sponsoring today's session, and also part two in October, which allows us to provide this important debate for anyone to watch for free. Advantech has the world's largest share of the industrial PC market, 35% of the market, and among other things, they provide a series of edge AI modules, AI inference systems, edge intelligence servers, and IoT gateways to accelerate AIoT development. You will hear more about their solutions on how to keep stations and trains healthy for passengers later in this program. If you want to know how you can support future webinars and participate in the debate, do get in touch with us. We'll be announcing the scope of part two at the end of this webinar, so don't miss that. So I look forward to a lively debate on this crucial topic today. We are tweeting live during this webinar. Follow us at Rail Summit, and our hashtag you can see on your screen is IRS Rail Webinars. I believe we will come up in very shortly. If you enjoy this session, do continue the debate on Twitter and LinkedIn. Now it's my pleasure to introduce you to our moderator, Marc Gigon. Marc has spent 24 years at the French National Railways, SNCF, before working at the French Prime Minister's office, advising the Prime Ministers on transport policies. He joined the International Union of Railways, UIC, in 2012 and is now their passenger director. UIC is a technical body representing the global railway sector, and most recently they have been credited for coordinating the sector's approach during the pandemic. Marc heads up this enormous and vital project as coordinator of UIC's COVID-19 task force, and I'm guessing many of you have come across this task force work over the last few months. This makes him a perfect moderator for today's debate on providing a healthy environment for rail passengers. So Marc, over to you.
No, thank you, Jules, to introduce me like that. I'm very happy for that. So you know, everybody, that the most important aspect to regain passenger confidence is to ensure that stations and trains are safe and hygienic spaces. Also important is ensuring that passengers are made aware that it is the case. This webinar session, as you said, Jules, is the first part of four webinars, the power of digital to inspire rail passenger confidence. What digitally enabled technologies and strategies are operators, rolling stock manufacturers, and innovative solution providers using and developing. topics will be covered in detail today, including ways to identify unhealthy individual ventilation, sanitization, and automatic cleaning. You will hear from my friends which are around me. You will hear from senior figures from Swiss Federal Railways, SBB, East Railway Japan, GR East, Alstom, and Industry to IoT expert Advantech. So as you said, this webinar is sponsored by Advantech. Dear participant, you can, during this webinar, ask some questions. You have some ways to ask questions by sending your question via the Q&A section in your control panel you see on the right. By clicking on the right hand icon indicating that you would like to speak. When we choose someone to speak, we will announce your name before you ask the question and we will unmute you. There is also a handout section in the panel where you can download the shared presentations. So I will begin with the UIC COVID-19 task force we set end of February this year in order to support our members, our UIC members from all around the world, from Asia, like China, South Korea, Japan. They are here, Europe, Middle East, Africa, North and South America. Yes, please, launch the presentation. So the UIC COVID, next slide, please. The UIC COVID-19 task force is composed with 71 UIC members and 18 international organizations like UITP, IATA, CER, but also regional organizations. We have issued a lot of documents which are available in the website of UIC. You have the address here. Next slide, please. We have also a UIC COVID-19 dedicated workspace on the UIC extranet. We have video conferences each 2 weeks with all task force members. And we have dedicated conferences for UIC regions like Africa, Latin America. You can see here in this map the members of our task force in quite 50 countries with 171 representatives all in the globe. Next slide. What we have done, what we have written is 5 guidance documents. One in March, which was the beginning of the pandemic with a series of potential measures coming from our members. In April, we issued a document you can read also in the UIC website, which is the potential measures to restore confidence in rail travel following the COVID-19 pandemic. In May, we have issued a document how the rail sector fought COVID-19 during lockdown, and you can see that we have a new word, which is rail resilience, because the railways and all the railway undertaking were resilient. In June, we have issued a document concerning back on the track. So that means how the railways come back and resume the situation. And we have also a first estimation of the economic impact of COVID-19 on rail. Everything is possible to download on our website, and you can do that. Next slide. We have issued 2 documents concerning the state-of-the-art papers. That means the first one concerns mask, ventilation, and social distancing. Thank you for our members to provide their input, including Yasunari Nakajima, who is here. We have issued also a document concerning thermal cameras. Next slide. So the measures to restore the confidence for us, there are 2 kinds of measures. There are concrete measures and there is communication. Concrete measures, it's temperature check, mask, sanitation gel, social distancing, ventilation in trains and in stations. So they are described in this document. And communication also, which is internal communication and external communication. Communication in one of the most important things, which is to restore confidence in rail travel. The next document is here. It's how the rail sector fought COVID-19 during lockdown. So thank you for some railways who have supported the medical sector as the SNCF, for example, for dedicated trains, or India also with dedicated trains for diseased people. Supporting community, the rail freight as a provider of essential goods works quite normally in some countries. And we have also the response measures, which are mitigation measure, response measure, and communication. Next slide. Back on the track. This document you will download have this chapter, which is the passenger service resumption post-confinement. What are the measures, technologies, communication campaign, freight service, staff confidence, security issues, and ethical and legal issues. Next slide. The document concerning mask, ventilation, and social distancing, you have everything concerning masks, including the rules and the different standard for the mask in all the world. Ventilation, I think Yasunari Nakajima will speak about that. And we have also a question that do mask and ventilation limit the need for social distancing? Next slide. So in this slide, you can see where the masks are mandatory or not in the world. That means in quite all the world, it's mandatory in the passenger trains, except in Nordic countries, in Iran, in Australia, and also in US. So thank you very much for your attention. So I will now propose a poll with a single question that you can answer in 1 minute.
Yes.
Please, Jules.
Yes.
Can you
so we will be launching a poll. Yes. You can see on your screen which of the below.
Jules, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
So I'm not sure. Which are the health measures in stations is more likely to be maintained in the future? Mask wearing, intensive cleaning and disinfection, management of passenger flows, or thermal cameras. So you have 1 minute to answer. In the meantime, I will introduce Olivier Weber, leader in innovation and technology management in SBB, the Swiss Federal Railways. You know, Olivier coordinates technological cross-functional competency centers like augmented and virtual reality, predictive maintenance, interaction between rail and rolling stock, drones, and other things. In addition, Olivier is responsible for further developing technologies management at SBB. This involves defining the technology strategy and corresponding technological tactics and principles. So SBB is obviously a member of the UIC COVID-19 task force and provides a lot of input in the documents and seminar. You can also go to their website, which is www.sbb.ch, which is very complete concerning COVID-19. Jules, I let you the floor to the result of the poll.
Okay, can you hear me, Mark? I believe the audience can hear me. We will be, I think most of you have voted. I'll give you 5 more seconds in case you haven't voted yet. So if you can vote now, 3, 2, 1. So we're closing the poll. The audience can see the result of the polls in the polls section. If you open the chat screen and under the polls closed, so we can see the results that we have mask wearing is 38%, followed by intensive cleaning and disinfection, 30%, management of passenger flow, 25%, and thermal cameras, 7%. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, yes, I think it's very true that one of the big measures to maintain in the future is mask wearing in stations, but it depends on the countries. We say that in France, yes, it is mandatory to wear masks in the stations, but not, I think, maybe not in Switzerland. Maybe Olivier can also speak about that. Intensive cleaning and disinfection is important also in the stations because a lot of people are touching some materials and the seats in the station. So it's important. And management of passenger flow, we see that is quite the three best answers. Management of passenger flows can have flows which are different between people going from one way to another way. Okay, thermal cameras is very dedicated for some countries, like in China, in Asiatic countries. In Russia also there are thermal cameras, but not in Europe. So I can understand the low quotation of that. Okay, thank you very much for this result.
Great, thank you, Mark. Olivier, if you can turn on your camera again, then we'll hand over the floor to you.
Yes, Olivier, you will have 10 minutes for your presentation. Yes.
I can see Olivier is joining. I think we can probably hear you, Olivier. I can see your microphone sign. I don't know if we can see you.
Olivier, are you there? Okay, I cannot do your presentation for you, Olivier.
Oh, Olivier is configuring settings. Let's wait for a few seconds. And if it's not working, perhaps we'll hand over the floor to the next speaker first.
Yes,
hello?
He's loading.
Yes, I can see you now, Olivier.
Okay, perfect. Sorry,
Yes.
I don't know what happened. So welcome on my behalf to the webinar, and thank you very much, Mark, for these words and for the kind introduction. On behalf of SBB, I will talk about how we at SBB try to manage the crisis and in the end try to gain some confidence of our clients, of our customers back. My presentation has basically two parts. The first part is more about operational strategies for a healthy passenger environment, and the second part is then more about digital solutions for a healthy passenger environment. Starting for this part here, operational strategies, I would like to highlight that we in Switzerland actually developed or built a protection plan for all public transportation companies in all Switzerland, meaning that we from SBB sat together with other main players in the area of public transportation and came up for a protection plan that is actually applying for all the public transportation companies in Switzerland. So let me go forward. I mean, having a protection plan is not enough. I said it has already been said, you have to communicate a lot, really a lot. And the communication phases, we had or still have 3 phases of communication. The first phase was focusing on how we show our customers how we protect ourselves, how we protect our clients on the train, at the railway stations as well. Then the second phase, when more or slightly more customers were again using public transportation, we were we were including like public personalities or important personalities in Switzerland, asked them to make a quote like this guy here: I prefer sitting with a mask in the tram instead of being stuck in a traffic jam. We think this helped a lot to give the other people the confidence. Yes, with these guys, these well-known popular guys are again traveling by public transportation, I will also do it. And then in the third phase, I mean, we really wanted, okay, I mean, the crisis, it started in end of winter, and when as soon as clients started coming back or started again taking our trains, it was slightly summertime, and we really tried to push a lot the marketing for tourist transportation, that also Swiss people stay in Switzerland for their holiday, and they also use the train. So let me go to the next slide. I mean, yes, to have a protection plan is one thing. Other thing was communication, but then we also have to implement the measures and show that we have implemented the measures, and in addition to observe that the measures are being taken seriously. Of course, we implemented some distance rules. In the beginning of the crisis, we highly recommended to wear masks, but right now in Switzerland, it's mandatory to wear masks. In addition, we distributed and installed disinfection sets. It's not only on train, it's a slight error here. It means the disinfection sets were installed at the railway stations. And in addition, even people normally not working with our customers were asked to stay on the platform and to distribute the dispenser sets or disinfection sets. Two other very important parts here, I've already mentioned the communication part, is customer information. I mean, you have really to communicate a lot these concepts you're applying and show the people what you're doing, and that it really helps. And last but not least, cleaning. We invest much more in cleaning than we do usually, meaning we clean, for example, 6 times a day touch points instead of three times a day. A touch point would be a screen, for example. And also the stations are cleaned now 6 times a year instead of 4 times a year. Going to the third phase, to the tourist sector, the tourist phase, where we try to invest a lot in marketing for tourist transportation. We did that, yes, but we also had to take measures on our tourist trains. As example, here I showed the Gotthard Panorama Express. Also there we applied some measures like blocking seats or mandatory reservation, and etc. You can read it here on the slide. And this slide is basically for you to show, yes, tourist transportation, we think at SBB is important, and we would like invest more here specifically on the Gotthard Panorama Express. We believe that is a field or a market that can still grow and has a high potential. Then let me come to the second part of my presentation, which is about digital solutions for a healthy passenger environment. First of all, what you will see here, we have not yet implemented. We're still in the phase of trying to find what digital solutions really help for a healthy passenger environment and what solutions maybe not help that much. We were sitting together with our CEO and looked at many ideas, and then kind of framed or came up with 3 main topics, which you see here. The first is customer guidance on a train, the second, customer guidance at the train station, and the third, self-check-in and automatic ticket control. These 3 areas, we try in each of these areas to find specific solutions which should be or shall be implemented in case they show potential. I would like to make a short deep dive now in the self-check-in area. The customer need behind this idea that as people want to work or sleep on a train. They don't want to be interrupted, and they want to gain some sense of security. They don't want to have too much contact with our conductors, for example. How we do that? We're actually developing an app. The customer opens the app, goes on the train, sits on a seat, self-check-in on the app, and then the UIC number of the coach is automatically recognized via beacon technology, and also then the controller gets informed about this specific check-in of that passenger, and this then in the end allows the controller not to manually control the ticket or make the ticket control. I mean, and then this having, or while you know where your customer sits, gives you a bunch of other applications or possible applications you can possibly evolve on them. Like, I mean, you know where your customer sits, so that means you maybe develop a solution that the customer can order snacks and drinks via the app, or you can provide some personalized customer information. You can, for example, also implement some service feedback solutions. After a ride, the customer gets a push notification about the past trip, and for example, you can ask about the cleanness of the coach. In addition, you can implement some compensation management. I mean, you see, I don't want to mention all of them. While you know where your customer sits, you really have a possibility for building order services, providing order services for your customers. Then let me already come to my last slide. I want to conclude with some words from our new CEO, Vincent Ducrot. He gave an interview last Saturday on Swiss radio, and I summarized here the most important points regarding customer trust. What we actually see in Switzerland is a slow recovery of traffic volume, meaning we have constantly more customers on a train. Some numbers: at the beginning of the crisis, we were at minus 90% of customers. Currently, we are at minus 20%, and right now, until last week, we gained 2 to 3% of customers every week. The situation is the following: many workers work from home. As well, we have almost no foreign tourists on the train, meaning we still have, the trains are not full. And in addition, we have no major events taking place like concert streets and football matches. But forecasts, we think we're going to we're going to reach this 100% level again. This doesn't happen automatically. We have to focus on the quality of our services and also on functionality issues in certain areas of Switzerland. But in general, we can say the customer confidence in Switzerland is right now relatively good, and we have seen a large increase since the introduction of masks in June. Thank you for your time. Thank you having let me speak here about what we do in Switzerland at SBB. Thank you very much. Happy to answer some questions later.
So I am blocked, so I do not know if you hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Mark.
Okay. Thank you very much, because my camera is fixed on me. Okay, so Olivier, I suppose you are because of the time. So thank you very much, Olivier, for this excellent presentation, and thank you also to keep your time. It's very great for that, and it is an example for the others after. So I will now give the floor after that to the Japanese colleague. So with Yasunari Nakajima. Yasunari Nakajima, who is the director of the Paris branch in East Japanese Railways, is an expert on signaling, project management, and standardization. A friend of mine also. and he has been deeply involved in the UIC COVID-19 task force, and his company has used our guidance documents to support the Japanese railways during the lockdown. He has very strong messages and advices from Japan, and he will introduce our GR East, Japan Railways East, is meeting the challenges of COVID-19 with very amazing solutions. After his presentation, we will have a second poll. Dear Yas, you have the floor now during 10 minutes. Okay. Yasunari, are you there?
Yes, Nari, if you can switch on your camera as well, maybe. Oh yes, you're joining, I think.
Okay, Yasunari, you are joining. Okay, I don't know why my image is fixed. Yasunari, we cannot hear you. I cannot hear you. Maybe others can. I don't know.
No.
So Yasunari is now in Japan. He's in Tokyo. He has 7 hours difference with us. So it's 9 o'clock in the evening. In the USC COVID-19 task force, we did that. We did, and we are doing a lot of meetings with all the world around the table at Paris time, at 1 o'clock at Paris time. That means it's very early in US, Canada, Brazil, Argentina, and Chile, and others, and very late for him. Okay, Yasunari, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mark.
You're welcome.
And can I start?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yes, I'm Yasunari Nakajima from East Japan Railway Companies. I'm a director of a Paris branch, and at the same time, I'm a member of the UIC task force. Today, I will explain the specific measure of JR East. I'm very glad to explain our effort and achievement today. The first, I would like to explain our outline of JR East. In 1887, Japan National Railway was bankrupted. It separated to 6 region passenger railway and 1 freight railway, and JR East is one of them. And we operate them in the north part of mainland, including Tokyo metropolitan area. We have a high-speed rail and a metropolitan line and a region line, and 17.8 million passengers use our service a day. And we got around 24 billion euro a year. And annual income is 3.8 billion euro a year. And JR is owner of infrastructure, and we maintain them, and we operate them, and we manage a variety of business related to rail, like on this slide. And we're proud of these to know. After privatization, we didn't get any subsidy from government at all. We didn't raise fare at all because we are complete private companies. During COVID-19 crisis, Japanese government has recommended to avoid 3 C's in order to prevent infection like this. They recommend to avoid closed space and closed place, a crowded place, and close contact setting, such as close range conversation. and WHO is following these measures by official SNS. JR East has put in place all possible measures, like on this slide. Our measures satisfy all these categories. So we believe our train and station service is low risk on infection. If customers follow basic measures such as wearing mask and sanitizing, cough etiquette, and we request to passengers off-peak commuting and using no contact ticket and refrain from talking in train like this. Now, let's move on introducing our specific measures against the 3 C's. We have already provided customers with real-time congested information before corona crisis coming. It can confirm real-time congestion status in the train and major station by JR East application for smartphone. And because of confirming congestion status in advance, customer can avoid to use congestion train and station. Of course, it is taken into account GDPR, like this photo. Most of the latest type of train has already installed automatic ventilation system like this. And it can replace air within around 7 minutes. In particular, customer worries about ventilation in the train. So we are making effort to reduce their anxiety through announcement in train and station, the poster in the station, the website, and SNS, and so on. And you can see the video movie, this link, after you getting this document. And unfortunately, in Japan and some Asian countries, it has not been difficult to demand employees to wear masks, wash hands, follow cough etiquette and goggles, because we used to do them since our childhood. It might be important result that we are able to suppress number of cases and deaths. Regarding the ticket system, we have introduced e-ticket, IC card, and Apple Watch. It's called Suica. Before this corona crisis, it has been also greatly reducing opportunities to contact at the ticket gate and the ticket check in the station. And JR East requests our customer to cooperate on following measures like this by voice announcement, poster, website, movie on board, and SNS, and so on. We think we are doing our best. It is so important for overcoming this crisis to get understanding and cooperation of customers. That's why we frequently announce and inform these measures. And we clean and sanitize all trains by cleaning staff at the train depot. Currently, some train crews have sanitized them at terminal station on their duty time. It is voluntary activities. All employees feel a sense of urgency of JR East. They want to contribute to overcome this crisis as much as possible, and they start to sanitize their car in order to reduce passengers' anxiety and show our train are safe. This is only one of example. Many colleagues are doing something what they can now by removing a section barrier as one team. And now we get a lot of warm comment from customers directly. It is motivation of us. This slide shows the situation in Japan and JR East during Corona crisis period. The horizontal axis shows the time from the first cases to now. The bar chart is daily number of cases. The line shows total number of cases, and the vertical axis shows the number of each. The red highlighted period shows the Prime Minister declared emergency. The green highlighted period shows big holiday in spring. The result was so mess for us. We don't want to believe that. The passenger number of high-speed rail and express was 95% down compared to 2019. The Japanese government started a travel discount campaign from 22 July. The infected person sharply increased. The blue highlighted period shows big summer holidays. The passenger number of high-speed rail and express was 77% down. It was still low level. JR East own discount campaign of Shinkansen from the beginning of August. And JR East lost about 3 billion euro on ridership fee from February to June. The operation income of fiscal year 2018 was 3.8 billion euro. Now the total loss is higher than operating income of previous year. Passenger kilometer in the first quarter was incredible. The total was 47% down. Especially for Shinkansen, it was 80% down. However, JR East didn't change basic timetable on operation, even with few demand, as public transport companies. And I think JR East has done every possible measures. There is no perfect measures in the world, but the rail company can find the best way by combining several possible solutions. As railway company, we must reduce passengers' anxiety and increase passengers' confidence. In addition, we need to protect employees' safety at the same time. And we believe that we will be able to overcome this difficult situation by cooperation of friends in the world, like UIC COVID-19 task force. As railway, we must bring passengers back for the sake of our sustainable contribution to the environment, to economic growth, and to improve quality of life. Thank you for kind attention.
Okay. Okay, Jules, can you launch a poll of Monsieur Yasunari Nakajima?
Yes, we have another second
much.
poll now. We're launching, yes, I hope you can see on the screen. What do you think about the infection risk on commuter trains, from very low risk to very high risk? If the audience members can answer the question, answer this question and submit the answers. We have a few more seconds to answer, and Yes, we have people answering. We'll wait for maybe 10 more seconds as people are answering this question. What do you think about the infection risk on commuter trains?
Yeah.
So most of you have answered. Maybe 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're closing the poll now. And then we can see the response in the closed section and the polls.
Okay.
So we have, I think, the biggest number of audience, 39% responded some risk, followed by high risk, 28%. What do you think, Yasunari, about this result?
So the result is, in my image, so because the commuter train is full, congested, the close to distance from other people. So that's why many people, I think many people worried about that situation. But now in Japan and France, Paris, and other big city in the world, the commuter passenger in the commuter train is coming back. So maybe the 80% and 90%. But there is no report of the cluster occurred. So that's why I think the train is very safe. I think that we have to show the evidence of the safe, low risk of train. And we have to bring a lot of passenger back to our service again, because the railway has a great opportunity to contribute the environment solution and so the economic growth. So that's why we want to bring back a lot of customers to our service again, like Olivier mentioned.
So we still need to convince the passengers to come back to use trains. Okay, Mark, over to you.
Yes. If I may have a comment on that, because for me these figures shows what is the perception of the audience. If we see the real figures which are shared by UITP and UIC, 1/3 of the contamination is coming in the companies where you work. 1/3 in the familial entourage, that means during weddings and things like that. 1/3 during the other events, like in hospital, like in schools, like in and others. But I didn't say transport, because transport is 1%. 1% of the contamination is in transport. It is said in France, it is said in some countries, it is said by UITPs, and that's why the feeling of risk and the real risk, there is no link between them. I think the risk is lower than the result of this poll. So it was my remark on that. So now we are running quite out of time. So normally we have question. We will have some questions for Olivier and Yasunari. I will ask you some questions. Maybe there are questions coming in the chat. For Olivier, you spoke about tourism, and I've seen in the chat there was somebody speaking about tourism. Why do you focus on tourism in your marketing campaigns, Olivier?
Yes,
Olivier, do you?
Yes, I hear you. Thank you for the question, the person who asked the question. Yeah, tourism is, we realize that we are investing in this field, but it's a market that has a high potential, and we wanna actually, we wanna increase our market share there in tourist transportation on rail. This is why, and it's also, I mean, the link I said in my presentation is also people in Swiss people stayed at home for their holiday, and in order that people travel by train and not by car, we wanted really to increase our market share there with more people traveling by train.
Okay, thank you very much, Olivier, for this answer. A question from the audience for Olivier and Yas. I would like to know passenger reaction on communication on train safety. What type of communication method was the most effective? Which type of communication is the most effective to give confidence to the passengers?
I think.
Yeah, do you want to?
Can I ask first?
Yes, Yasunari Nakajima.
I think there are frequent announcement to passengers. So the people, if we catch same announcement and information a lot of times, so I think that they will get used to listen to them, and they will understand what we want to follow them. And so that's why our train staff and the station staff are frequently informed by voice announcement and the poster a lot, and movie on board. And we produce the smartphone application, and many customers can check our service on the smartphone application. At the same time, they got our message by them. So our passengers got our message a lot of time. So that's why a little while they is getting to believe our message. Sometimes we show the evidence by the movie or something on the TV or the YouTube or something. So another movie is very effective, I think.
Yes, thank you very much for this answer. But I can only give my personal opinion. By I don't know about any analysis we have done. But I think yes, it's frequent communication is important, but make sure that you communicate in relation to the pandemic situation. Meaning, in the beginning, you communicate strict measures you have taken, and when the first wave was decreasing, we actually adapt our protection plan, and so make sure that you adapt your communication and strategies, and also the measures you take regarding what the situation is there with COVID-19. I think this I can complement here, and yes, use every means of communications like TV, like posters, like your app, mobile app, just where you have your customers. I mean, some you have online, some you have at the counter, some you have at the railway station, and just make sure that everywhere you have a contact with your customer. Make sure you communicate there. This is my personal opinion.
Okay, thank you, Olivier. So there is a chat which is public chat where you can discuss. There is a Q&A. And Q&A, there are some questions, and you can vote. The audience, or all audience can vote on the question with the finger like that if you agree on that question, if you want this question to be answered. That means only the 2-3 questions which are excellent questions will be asked. We'll go now in the technical part, but just before the technical part, Yas and Olivier, I will ask you one question for you, because you are speaking about technical measures, and there are a lot of industry around the disease table. Do you have some advices for the industry? You can give to them advices to the industry on which topics they have to work, and we will after that hear them.
I mean, as I mentioned, in 2 words, okay. occupancy level on the train, passenger flows on platforms in the railway stations, and the last is the automated the self-check-in and automatic control.
Okay, thank you for it's very kind. Yeah, yes, great. And yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
yeah. Oh no, sorry. I'm sorry.
yes.
So, go ahead.
Yes, Yasunari Nakajima, to us
Okay.
to answer this question.
Okay, so the digital solution is one of the effective measures we take. Forecasting the congestion or the real-time congestion level on each car and the train. So at the same time, so we have a lot of tangible facilities service. So the caulking, the antibacterial protection is one of the solution was we introduced a lot of antibacterial how can I say? Omra?
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
Mr.
you very
Omra?
much. Thank you very much, Yasunari Nakajima.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Olivier Weber, for your presentations, which was very excellent, and with this discussion. We'll go to the second part of this webinar, and we'll begin by the poll which has been given by Maurice van den Aar. Please, Jules, can you?
Yes, thank you, Mark.
Yes.
So this is our last poll for
So
today.
you can read the question.
Yes. So what does your company's edge?
Here, okay. During this.
Yes. What does your company's edge AI implementation strategy
During
look
your
like?
vote, I will introduce Maurice.
So
Maurice van den Aar is Senior Product Sales Manager and Solution Architect Intelligent Systems in Advantech, who is a sponsor of this event. He has worked 2 years in commercial ITs, where he had the role of sales, purchasing, and product management within the Benelux market. His main focus is on high-performance IPC, industrial servers, and edge artificial intelligence. In 2019, he has started work as a solution architect and has set up strategic collaboration with software partners to enable edge solution-ready packages for the European market space. So please, maybe.
yes, so the audience is voting. It's a long question, a lot of answers.
The result.
Yes,
the result, you have to go to the polls and close. If it is done, Jules.
Yes, let's wait for 10 more seconds while the audience votes. We have just under half of the audience have voted so far.
Because the questions were quite long.
Yes, it's a long. And also it's a more technical question. If you can answer in maybe in 10 more seconds, audience members. I can see there's one most popular response, and Maurice will have a comment on that, I'm sure. Maybe 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're closing the poll now, and we can see the results in the closed section of the poll.
Okay.
So 57% of the audience said, what is edge AI? So I think Maurice will have the answer to that question.
Yeah, I think so too. So first of all, Mark, thanks for the introduction, and Jules for the poll. What is edge AI? I think when I'm starting to present my presentation, when we go in, then it should be more clear what we mean by edge AI. So if everybody is okay, then I will start to share my screen, and I will give you an insight on what Advantech means with edge AI. So can everybody see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So let me first give you a quick introduction about Advantech, who we are. We started in 1983.
Thank you. Go ahead.
And we are an industrial IPC company focusing on industrial IoT, Industry 4.0, but also transportation, smart city, retail, healthcare, and so on. A lot of variety of markets. We have quite a big scope of products because we're really a product design company. We have a 1.8 billion USD revenue in 2019. Hope to reach 2 billion this year. And but our market cap is quite exceptional because it's around 7 billion. And the reason why it is so high is because Advantech has been investing a lot on the IoT space, and we have a clear business strategy for the long term, in order that products are just to enable software and end customers' applications. So we started, as you can see here in the bottom middle, we started to do a phase 2 and a phase 3 integration process, which means the hardware is one, but we co-work together with domain-focused system integrators that can be real operators, but that can also be companies that have specific knowledge on certain parts in the real industry. And we create together solutions which we call edge solution ready packages. Now, as I said, Advantech is a global company. We have around 8,000 people working for us, and we are market leader in the industrial PC market with around 34% market share. Now, IoT One, they did an investigation in 2019, and they made this table where it says who are followers, who are influencers, who are challengers, and who are accelerators. And Advantech has been identified as one of the accelerators of IoT. Now, to come to the point of Edge AI, Edge AI is, the edge means the application at the end user's side. So if you're looking at surveillance, for instance, at a train station, that is already the edge. The other side of the edge is the cloud. So what are then the challenges to realize Edge AI? Because these days the machines, no matter in which kind of application, they produce a lot of data. And if you send all this data to the cloud and back again, there are some challenges with that. And one of those challenges is latency. If you send something up and you move it then back down, and you want that more or less in real time, then the cloud can be challenging because you need to have a very good uplink and downstream to get the very, very low latency. The other point is cost, especially when you do AI in the cloud for retraining purposes of the machine itself. You pay on Azure or AWS, you pay per image that you reanalyze. So if you send a lot of data per day up to the cloud, you have high investment cost on retraining continuously that data. And the other point is safety, because we don't want that our data goes everywhere, and it can also be tampered with, because there can be hackers that can hack your system and they snoop away all your business intelligence that you don't want. So that's why we believe that we, with our ecosystem, we try to enable this whole structure of Edge AI, because in the Edge, Advantech is the market leader. Now, how do we did that? If you look into from the bottom to the top of the screen, so first we started to work with the technology providers, Intel and NVIDIA. And NVIDIA and Intel have both acceleration platforms, and Intel is the only one who provides, let's say, a base structure to enable an accelerator platform. We all know Intel Core I or Intel Xeon. These kind of CPU technologies, you can bridge a GPU on top. GPU is a graphical processing unit, which is in the end an accelerator, because you push your image data that your security camera, for instance, sees, you push that to an accelerator card. Now, that needs to be integrated in what we call then industrial PCs or industrial servers. And you can identify them in two ways. edge inferencing systems. Inferencing means it's a AI, and in AI you have two stages. You have the training, which is on the right side. Yeah, so we annotate all the data there, and then we move it to the front end side, because your camera that is connected to one of the PCs that you see here needs to track what the camera is registered. And the inferencing part is that he checks if that data that he sees is compliant to what you have trained in the beginning. Now, it's a little bit technical, sorry for that, but I cannot make it much more easier. To connect, let's say, between the software stack and the hardware stack, NVIDIA created some middleware, and also Intel, but this is more focused on NVIDIA. So they have CUDA and they have DeepStream. So there's all kinds of toolkits that the software vendors, the ISV, the independent software vendor, can work with. So we work together with ISV Brain Creator and NeuroCat. So Brain Creators is more focused on training the data and annotating the data in a bulk annotation, so it goes much faster for the expert in the field who uses a system. And NeuroCat is more specialized in the robustness of the AI and the security of it. So they are helping, let's say, each other to make a complete secured AI that is very robust, and you can annotate data very quickly. Annotating data means in an image, you want to see something and you want to identify what you see in that image. Now, I will show you later in an example what we are talking about. Now, on top of that, we work together with what we call domain-focused system integrators, DFSIs, that are companies, system integration companies, that have a specific knowledge on a vertical market. Yeah? And on top of that is, of course, the end user. That can be a train operator, that can be the infrastructure managers from stations, etc., etc. But what kind of business models can you then create? And we talked about cloud, we talked about on-premise, but you also have something that's called hybrid. And there is not one the best, but it depends on your application scenario, what is in that case best for you, how you want to perceive your data stack. So let's start with off-premise. So off-premise, you have a data center that can be AWS, Azure, or your own privatized data center. And you've trained the data on this side. You move the data via the cloud to the inference side, so where the application is in the end integrated, and it goes into the vertical market segmentations. The cameras, no matter if it's an industrial camera or a security camera, it is connected to the system and it registers what's going on. In the next slide, I will show you how that works. Then you have on-premise. That means that we install one of our industrial servers, because you don't need to put them in a climatized room or whatsoever. They can be sit in a cabinet next to on the train station's track or whatsoever. And you move data from that location, the train data, you move it to the inference PC. So you don't have the cloud in between. So the retraining of that data cost, of course, less, because, as I said in the beginning, pushing data into the cloud and analyze it there and send it back, you will pay for that part. Of course, here you have a little bit higher investment because you need to invest in training service. Then the process after that is exactly the same. So register via the inference PC, it registers what you want to do. In our case, what we are talking about today is the transportation. And then there is the hybrid model. So maybe you want to do the initial training in the cloud, but then you move it to an on-premise server. And after that, the data is being constantly pushed between inference PC and on-premise to retrain the data set. Now, let's give an example of what we have been working on together with brain creators for social distance monitoring and anonymization. Now, you see on the top, you see social distancing monitoring. So we use the infrastructure of the train station itself, and you see that on if the line is red, people are coming too close to each other. If the line is yellow, it is a low risk. In the bottom side, you see anonymization. What we do there, complying to GDPR ruling, is we are checking if people are with their face in the camera. If so, you can see here in the bottom with the lady, we blur out the faces. And we can do the same for the masks. So if you want to do face mask identification, we have already ready, and we can implement this also with the current and existing infrastructure that's already at the train station. This, of course, can also be copied to in the train. The hardware, as we speak, we are developing right now to optimize it, because you need more performance inside the rolling stock controllers by adding GPU or accelerator technology. But you can see here also very clearly, it first identifies in blue, then in green it's okay, and in red, as you can see here in the back, these people don't have the masks. What you see here on the right is a person that has a mask on, but he has it not on the mouth and on the nose, he has it on the chin. So here he registrates that it is not correct, and therefore he is not complying to the rules that are for that country. Now, if you want to become part of our ecosystem, then you can schedule a meeting with one of our experts. It can be me or my colleagues, or with one of our partners. We work together with these 4 partners, and then we can define the next steps for your organization and grow together in this pandemic situation. One small highlight, next week we have our virtual summit, where we also have an AI session.
Oh, thanks a lot, Maurice, on this excellent presentation. For me, as you see, I understand only the last result, which is very amazing, and not all the things. So thank you very much for that.
No problem.
And I've seen that there are a lot of discussions during your speak also within the chat, and there were also Q&A concerning your presentation. We will go now through the presentation of Stéphane. Stéphane Ferret-Beaumont is Vice President Innovation and Smart Mobility in Alstom. He has been in the position since 2018, holding a PhD in Control Engineering and Artificial Intelligence. Stéphane is a rail expert, of course, in Alstom, who benefits from 25 years of experience in the control command industry. So, Stéphane, you have the floor. If you can connect.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mark.
Somebody hear me? Jules, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you. I believe Stéphane's trying to come on online. Ah, yes.
Okay, so I managed to put the mic on. I'm a little bit having trouble with the camera, so if you can help me there.
Okay,
that's
so
for me.
Maybe you have the camera icon at the top of your screen.
Yes.
Yes,
here you are. Okay, great.
Yes, great. You are loading now. Okay, my image is fixed. But,
I think he will be there shortly.
Okay.
There he is. I'm switching off my camera.
Jules?
Yes, Stéphane, we can see you now.
Thanks. Sorry about that.
There was a discussion concerning the mask. in the chat with the 1% of mask, and there is an answer coming from Philippe Laurent in France, which is very interesting, I think. So sorry, Stéphane, to have taken the floor during the time you switch on your camera. So you have the floor now. Go on.
Thank you, Mark. So thanks, Mark and Jules, to have given me the opportunity to share some of the ideas that we have within Alstom during this this crisis, and how we plan to contribute to, I'm going to use Mark's terms, to the rail resilience, if I pronounce it correctly, which is very key to us. So, you know, better than any word on the crisis, better than any word on the crisis, I took two tips to show how we feel the crisis had hit our business. So back in January, very extensive use of public transport, rail. In May, nothing. Today, a little bit of recovering, as we saw from Mr. Nakajima. The hit has been really severe. It's recovering. It's going to take time. But those two pictures shows how a crisis can really be a game changer for mobility. Again, back in January, we all had, you know, growth expectation on the business. We were planning for more urbanization, and therefore more need for people to move in towards city centers. We were planning into more people to use transportation in between cities. We were planning into, again, a development of mobility across the world. And in May, everything changed. And everything has changed and could last for some time. It could last because, as Mark said, perception is there. People should maybe think differently about transportation. People have the perception that railway transportation is at risk, which is not the case in reality. The perception sometimes becomes reality. And if this perception becomes reality, then the trends for mobility may change as well. And that's not what we want. Restoring confidence, to use, again, Mark's word, is exactly what we are after here. Why? Because as it has been said by Mr. Nakajima, rail is the most environmental friendly mobility mode in the world. So that makes a lot of difference. We, as stakeholders of rail mobility, we need to take our share into how we make people perceive that, how we make people understand all the aspects of using rail. It's not only about LC mobility or healthier mobility. It's all about also more sustainable mobility. It's all about making sure that we think about health as we think about sustainable growth, as we think about the impact on the planet. And for all of that, rail for moving passengers, and by the way, moving goods as well, but rail for moving passenger is the most efficient transportation mode. So what it is that we do in Alstom to be able to do that? First, we got hit by the crisis as everyone. We are close to our customers, we listen, we have a bunch of things that we've already in our back pocket, I'm going to say, and we need to inform, we need to communicate, we need to make people aware of what is already available. And when we do that, we have to take care about different cultures, different impact of the crisis wave in different places in the world. You can't deploy a solution sometime which fits for a given place in the world to another one. It just doesn't work. So we need to make sure that the solution we have, even if the root cause is the same, the solution we have may need to be adapted to the various places in the world. It's very important that we take those into consideration so that the answer we provide is adapted to the local situation. the situation, the crisis is going to last. The World Health Organization, WHO, is telling us that we are going to have multi-waves. So we've got hit by the first wave. In some places, we've seen the second wave come. It's going to last. We will need to live with this virus for a bunch of months. And while we live with this virus, we will need to move. We'll need to get back to using rail, using mobility modes. And the least thing that you want to have is people taking their car, because this is going to have a very strong impact on the environment, and we don't want that either. And even if cars become electrical, even if car becomes autonomous, there will still be an impact on the environment. Whereas if you use train, if we go back to train, we are in a healthy environment, as Mark said. We need to make it understandable for the users, for the passenger, and we are contributing to protecting the planet as well. So that's what we are after. Now the crisis had hit. The first thing that we need to do is protect passenger and employees, as I put on the slide, and make sure people understand. This is the short term. We are into it. It should be now. It should be like we're able to deploy those solutions in a couple of days, weeks, or we have already deployed that, as some of the colleagues said. Then we need to go into the second phase, which is restore confidence, because of these multi-waves that we are going to face. And because some of these perceptions are going to stick for longer in the passenger mind, we need to think a bit of the longer term. What is going to come our way first? What are people going to ask to us to prepare for the longer term? How to make sure that I'm not going to hope for the next crisis. Obviously, I keep my finger crossed. But what is going to be our reaction if we were to have another of these viruses? How to lower the impact of another crisis, preventing another lockdown, for example, so that the economy is not hit as it has been hit this time. And this is how we think about into the next generation of mobility solution, making sure that by design, not putting those measures that we had to deploy in this crisis, on a case-by-case environment, but by design, the mobility solution is LC friendly, is answering to the more expectation, higher expectation on healthier and environmental friendly that we see coming on our customers. That's what we have, and some of the solution we are working on, some of the design we are working on is already off the shelf. We've been working on LC. I'm not going to say healthier, but LC measures for train for a long time. And those are ready for prime time. They are here on the shelf, ready to be done. Then the request is on how quick we can get it to the end user, because we are in an emergency mode to restore confidence. And then you can have more structural change, which will take a little bit longer to deploy. Because when you want to deploy things on train, my colleagues from the operators can say, but you can't do that overnight. Trains moves all around the country. Trains are spread in different environment, so that stations, so that etc. You can't just push a software just like that. And some of the reasons why you can't do that have been described by Maurice. It's all about making sure that you push the right thing, you don't get hacked, blah, 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 blah. So we are in a safe environment. We are in a healthy environment. We are the safest transportation mode. We need to keep that level. We need to keep that level of expectation, that level of performance, that level of perception that we have from the customer. Safety is always going to be a key word for us. We need to keep that. So having said that, what does it mean? It means that for us, we have a bunch of ways to look at what makes an environment healthier. It can go from more, I'm going to say, sanitarized surfaces up to some of the things that have been described by colleagues about passenger flows. All of this is going to contribute to healthier mobility. What I put here is only how digital can have a link to physical solution, because at the end of the day, the virus is not a digital virus. It impacts the health of our passenger. It can lead to very severe impact, and these are physical stuff. So the question here, how does digital can help us into making the physical aspect of this crisis be managed? And here are some examples. Here, hair treatment. We have to make people understand, customers obviously, but passengers, how the air is being treated on board the train. Mr. Nakabijima said about the HVAC, the ventilation. This is key. We are using very high digital model, very high specified digital model to understand how airflows are being managed within coaches, so that we are able to help design measures how to counter the propagation of the virus. And thanks to those very, very, I'm going to say intelligent, I'm not going to say that it's AI-based, but I could say so, we are able to design how to make sure that propagation is contained. These are very sophisticated, but at the end of the day, we need to make it understandable for people who are within the coach, to say that thanks to this digitalization of the modeling, thanks to how digital come into the physical world, they feel okay, they feel healthier, so that at the end of the day, their level of confidence is going to go higher. On the second side, the second example, it's all about making sure that those hedge software are being used. Whether it's AI or not is a different matter, but when you have an air conditioning system on board the train, this air conditioning has several usage. One of them is filtering the air, removing the virus, but it has to be controlled. It's not self-operated. And those software which are controlling those features need to be adapted to the situation. That's what we do here. We are changing the control of the air conditioning and the ventilation so that it's adapted to how many people who are on board, what is the quality of the air, the airflow, what is the quality of the filters, so that at the end of the day, we produce very, very healthy air inside the coach, so that again, people feel okay. Another example is what it is that we do with making sure that we manage any kind of surfaces close to the transportation system which could lead to contact, so that again we control and we prevent contamination by contact. Which something that we can do with software is just telling people, hey, this place, whether it's a door, whether it's a knob, whether it's a handlebar, whether blah blah blah, each of these places are safe, so that you can explain to the passenger the last time that a decontamination measure has occurred is 20 minutes ago, 2 hours ago, blah blah blah. You have the level of safety that you are allowed to expect from the operator and train manufacturer, and you feel good. So that's the kind of things that software can really help into bringing it to the physical world. And this passenger flow, I know that there is going to be another session on passenger flow, but this is also something which is important. It's to make sure that people people get the information of what the load of the train is going to be, how to make sure that the passenger is from his origin to his destination just managed, I'm going to say. Management means that we have to make people and passenger understand that at operators level, someone is taking care of the passenger. Someone is taking care of the social distancing. Someone is taking care, someone is in control and really improve the confidence that the passenger will have. That's the kind of things that we are after. That's the kind of things that we are today proposing to the customer, so that at the end of the day it goes to the passenger. And we are in this restore confidence plan. You know, don't want to use some historical references, but restore confidence in the rail is something that goes straight to our heart, because we do believe in this rail resilience that Mark was mentioning. We do believe that at the end of the day, rail is going to be the backbone of mobility in the future. We do believe that the mobility is key to the society today, and thanks to some of the measures that we described, both on the operator side, on the supplier side, we do think that we can contribute to that. So, thank you, and I'll hand it over back to Mark.
Thank you very much, Stéphane, for this very brilliant presentation, which is complementary with the previous one of Maurice. And I'm very happy that you take our words, which are now new words we can put in the Laos in France, which is resilience, maybe.
I'll try to do that as well.
I have please, Maurice, if you can turn your camera. Maurice, you spoke about face recognition, face detection. I just see that in your presentation. So wearing a mask, does that impact your system, Maurice?
No, I think it doesn't impact the system, as you saw in the second slide of the videos that I showed.
Maurice is not there, not yet. He will come. So there is a question from the audience for Stéphane, and after that I will leave the floor to Jules for some insight. Does the safe practices involve redesign the carriages for more space?
That's a good question. Ultimately, yes. We will have to, passenger flow is usually people think of passenger flow in between the different mode, on station, in the corridors, blah, blah, blah. But we need to think about passenger flow inside the coaches as well. So that, you hear me, Mark?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So we need to design and think about passenger flow inside the coaches, so that ultimately, yes, it's going to lead to redesign of how coaches are being sold internally. The design of the internal fitting is something that is going to become a requirement for passenger. They are going to ask us to design places where they can be on their own space, protected from the others. You are going to have usage where people need to work together during the station, during the journey, sometimes on long haul, and they are going to need some spaces where they can sit, maybe 2 of them, maybe 3 of them, maybe 4 of them, so that they have a kind of conference, but they are independent from the rest of the coach. And you have a multiple usage like that, which are going to be impacted with how, again, the virus is propagated, etc. So yes, the redesign of the coach is going to be something internally, something that is going to come. It's not going to come overnight. This is for the longer term.
It is for the future.
It's going to come for the longer term.
So Stefan, you are welcome to join our working group in UIC, which is a new normal. What will be the new normal in 5 years, in 10 years, after the crisis, after the pandemic? What will be the world? What is how to shape the world? What will be the mobilities? The mobilities will change, as you said, you and your colleagues. The mobility will change. The behavior of people will change. The using transport mode will change also. That's why now, and we have Oliver here, just here, showing his face. There is also night trains which will be emerged also from Switzerland. They want to do that also, and maybe other infrastructures and other investments. I think about high-speed trains, for example, in Europe with Eastern countries or others. So thank you. Maurice, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Maurice.
Okay, that's good. I think Mark cannot.
Yes, Mark cannot. Mark, can you hear me?
Okay. I will leave the floor 1 minute to Jules. He would like to speak about how to ask the questions, and he has one slide to show that. Jules?
Yes. Yes, thank you, Mark. So I just want to remind the members of the audience that there are two ways of asking questions. So you can either raise hand and we can turn on your microphones to speak and ask questions directly to the panel. So you can do that through the chat screen. At the bottom, you have the hand
Can you hear me, Stefan?
Icon. And you can just click on that hand icon, and then we will contact you. My colleagues will contact you to make sure your mic is set up. So if you want to ask questions directly, please click on that button. We can also you can also ask questions through the Q&A section of your panel, and I think many of you have been doing that. So once you ask a question, you can also vote and to say which questions you'd like to be asked. So there are two ways of asking questions, so this is do make use of that and ask the questions, ask your questions to the panel. Mark, back to you. I don't know if you can hear me. I think Mark can hear some of us, but not all of us. That may Stefan, I think Mark could hear you. Maybe you can say that.
I'm sorry, I did not hear you, Jules.
Can you hear me? That
yes.
You can hear some of us, but not all. Jules is trying to say something to you, but it seems that you can't hear.
Okay. So we cannot hear Jules. Okay. No problem. So you have two ways to ask questions, as I said at the beginning.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe you want to speak.
I think, Stefan, you have a special power.
His AI is stronger than ours.
Yes. So Mark, I don't know if you can hear us. I think what we will do is we will ask Mark to refresh his browser, which will hopefully update. Can you hear me, Mark?
Yes, it's okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, great.
Yes,
okay.
It's okay now.
Speakers, if there's any issues you notice, the quickest thing is to refresh your browser. It will take maybe 10 seconds, and then you can come back on. That's the best way.
Okay.
So, Mark, over to you.
Okay, thank you. So sorry. It is there were two ways to ask questions. So you are in the Q&A, and you can ask the questions, and you can vote with clicking on the finger like that. So the question with the most popular questions will be I think I will begin now for that, and also you can also click on the hand at the, I don't know where it is in my screen. Oh, okay. So I will take the first one because Chelsea wants an answer. She has this question a lot of minutes ago. Do you have any advice? Do you have any advice for improving passenger compliance with mask wearing in countries where the enforcement is weak? Maybe somebody from railway operators. SBB, Oliver. Olivier.
Yes, it's a good question. Let me think. I mean, I mean, it's maybe communication again, and maybe some make masks available on behalf of the operator, that the operator invests some money in mask distributions, and then at the railway stations you just hand them over to the customers. But I don't know, maybe Stefan has an idea.
Because I have
Okay. You give them okay.
What I can say is we've said a lot about communication, about explanation to the customers and the passenger at the end, showing how the virus is propagating while not being, not generating some fears, but showing that the mask is going to help all the systems which are around in the coach and in the station could really make sense. So it's all about making people perceive that while they are wearing the mask, it's improving the performance of the entire system, and it's improving for themselves as well. For the time being, I mean, frankly, the feeling is that the mask is just a pain to wear. So let's make sure that people understand that the pain is really nothing to the gain that the mask has. And I don't think that it's how can I say, it's enough today explain with maybe some of the simulation that I was talking about, maybe some of these things that people can see, people can really feel that, oh, that's the reason why we have to be disciplined. That's the reason why it makes sense, so that it improves this how can I say, this compliance to wearing the mask. It's a very good question. It's a difficult one because at the end of the day, the operators and the suppliers like Alstom, we can only how can I say, promote to use the mask and to use this healthier measure. We are not government, or we are not the police. We can't do much more than the law can allow. So communication for me is going to be key for having more people be disciplined with wearing the mask. That will my 2 cents on that.
Thank you. There is Maurice who has also sent an answer.
Yeah, I think by making them aware, because no matter off track or on track, you can. There are a lot of screens everywhere. In my example, in one of the videos that I shown, we shown that we can detect if people are wearing the face masks. You can also transport that data in if people are not wearing. You can inform them via the screens around the station, or in the other scenario, inside the train, in the cabin. So that's another way of making people aware that they need to wear their masks. We have an example in the Netherlands. It's not really a rail station. It's Schiphol, but it's also a public transport area, and we are working with our partner together on deploying something similar. Creating people awareness is key, I think.
Okay, thank you, Maurice, for that. So communication, and people to be aware. So to be aware, it's very, very important. And technical things is also a tool to help the authorities. So there is a question coming from Werner Files. So hello, Werner. It's a long time. I didn't see you. It was in Next Station, if I remember well, in 2013. What about seat occupancy detection to prevent taking seats not permitted, even using the app, and not on the seat as booked? Okay, there are 4 votes. Somebody wants to answer?
Yeah,
So Maurice,
I think I answered it
yes.
Already. So it's all about that rolling stock devices get AI enablement. Yeah, they need to have an accelerator inside. We're working with a team in headquarters on creating accelerators inside our rolling stock devices. With that said, you can move the model that you have created, you can move it to the edge device, and then it becomes an inference system and connect to your data security system that is in the cabin, and it does the analyzation of what you want it to do. So that is a solution, and that is coming rather sooner than later. So we are working on the technology and trying to implement that as soon as possible. I hope that answers the question of Werner. Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you, Werner. Thank you, Maurice. So are other answers around the table? Okay, next question coming from Frank Morgan. Great idea. Yes, I'm sure that it is a great idea. Particularly digital solutions such as self-check-in app. You work together or exchange with other rail operators for apps with ÖBB, DB, SNCF. I think it's for Olivier.
Yes, thank you for the question, Frank Morgan. As I said during the presentation, the digital solutions we are currently developing have not yet been implemented, are more all of them are more or less in the phase of proof of concept, meaning still in a pilot or prototyping phase where we test the application if the need is really there, if the technical feasibility can be done, and if it really gives an added value to the customer. We are confident, yes, but we are still in the proof of concept phase, meaning as far as I'm informed, we are not yet in contact with other rail operators, but I'm happy to get any contacts of if there is any from ÖBB, DB, SNCF to hand over your guys' contact to my experts, to my colleagues in the field.
Okay, yes, you can go to UIC also to the passenger department. You know, there is a passenger department in UIC with a director which is here in the room, and we are finalizing a product in UIC which is ETCD for electronic ticket control database, where all the non-reservation tickets are stored in one application and in one big database, and you can have the self-checking for that. You can control the ticket, you can change the ticket, and there are today there are 3 companies in Europe, and the companies which are here in the screen, ÖBB, DB, and SNCF, are also working to implement that in their company. So it is like a self-check-in app and a lot of other functionalities also, which are here.
Thank you, Mark.
You are welcome, Olivier. So don't do not hesitate to write to me. One question to Olivier from Johan title. How do you check whether seats have been treated with disinfectant properly and when to reapply the disinfectant?
So that's for me. I mean, we clean the train several times a day, but personally, I don't know if we make a kind of a tracking of the already cleaned seats or not. Yes, I mean we clean on a daily basis, sometimes even more times a day the trains, but I'm not sure if we really put then a tag on the seat. Okay, this has been cleaned or not. We're confident. I mean that all the train has been cleaned, and once the customer gets on the train, he is in a safe and healthy environment. I think this is how people should try to build solutions, that all the coaches of the train have been cleaned, and once you get on a train, you can feel safe and healthy, and don't be scared of any potential infection of when you touch a surface, for example. Yeah.
Okay, Stefan, you spoke about some materials which can also be disinfectant by themselves. Does that exist or not?
You can work on a surface that are typically contact surface that kills the virus or the bacteria, whatever. You can also work on different ways to make sure that you clean very frequently the surface which is the most exposed to contact. So yes, we already have those solutions. Some of them are very, very quick to deploy. The thing is, it's all about how long the protection is going to last, how frequent it needs to be renewed, as Olivier said, and how we make sure that the quality of the contact is understood by the user, by the passenger. Because you can clean as much as you want. If at the end of the day people don't feel that it's clean, the perception is not there. Mm-hmm. So how can I say? The question on the materials for the specific to kill the bacteria or to kill the virus, yes, we have. How long does it kill is the question, and how to make sure that when the is lowering, we are able to renew it.
Thank you very much. And we had also a presentation with ED Czech Railways saying that they can spread a special product which is also antibacterial for some for a long duration, and not only one day, for a long duration. I have a last question to Maurice from Maza. Oh, I lose the question. Yes, what kind of trend data transferring to clouds? So Masayoshi Toyohara, who is also a colleague of Yasunari Nakajima, I think, in the Paris office. What kind of trend data transferring to cloud, Maurice?
Yeah, so my answer there was it depends on the model, of course, that you deploy in the field. In the beginning, it will never be 100% accurate right away. So to make the system more smarter, that data that you have inputted into the edge device, it needs to be recurrent retrained to make it, let's say, up to 100% accurate. That data, so the image data or the video data that you want to have analyzed, that will be sent up to the cloud, will be retrained in that case, and there will be a new model made, and that will be sent to the edge. and the model there is then updated. So that is how you do the retraining. That doesn't mean it always needs to go to the cloud, as in my example. You can also do that at the edge via an edge industrial server for the retraining. Then you make it more privatized.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Moritz. The last question for you. I've seen that you can check if persons are wearing a mask or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. It's great. And about face detection, wearing a mask, yes, Stefan. Does it impact your system?
No, in principle, it doesn't impact the system. Of course, if you do facial recognition and you want to anonymize that, you can only do that from the front of the system, because on the back of the system, there are no key characteristics. You have hair, but that's it. So if we do the analyzation, we do that from the eyes, the nose, etc. If you want to blur only that, that's fine. But you can, of course, also blur the whole face if that is needed for the anonymization.
Okay, I understand that. Yes, it's great. Your system is very great. Yes, we have to think about that. So everybody now knows what is, and I'm sure that if we put the poll now, the answers will not be the same.
That's true, but we don't do everything by ourselves. We do it in the ecosystem, and I think that is the most important part, because alone, you are a lone wolf. The key is to have all the partners around. So to co-work with an Alstom, to co-work with an SBB, etc., or Japan East Railway. That is part of making this. It's a solution in that case. Instead of just we are a hardware manufacturer, we bring a dead box to you. And you need to do everything yourself. And this is proven technology.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, because we are at the end of this webinar. I'm very sorry for those who has asked questions in the Q&A, but it was so interesting this webinar that there are a lot of questions, a lot of chat. So thank you also everybody to have discussed in the chat for a lot of questions. So thank you for that. Thank you, Olivier, Yasunari, Maurice, and Stefan for your involvement in this seminar with very brilliant presentations, and also for your time to come here. So I will give now the floor to Jules, who will introduce the new webinars in the series.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark, and thank you once again to all of the speakers. Stefan, Maurice,
so Jules will come,
Olivier,
I think, in a while,
and Yasunari. I think we have a similar issue. Yes, I'm here. I believe you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. Okay. So I'm just gonna continue then. So I think we need the edge computer for us. I think, Maurice.
Okay.
So so this is a next.
It's not me to present that. I can speak on other things, but not for the next series.
Yes. So I'll the next session is.
Okay. So I will take another question. Waiting for Jules. Do you have question between Stefan, Maurice, Oliver, and Yasunari? One question to.
You may not hear Jules, but we can. So Mark, Jules is speaking.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you, Stefan, with your special power. Yes, thank you to all the speakers. And so the next session will be in just under 1 month's time, middle of October. Once again, in association with Swiss Federal Railways. Thanks to them, Advantech is once again sponsoring the second session. Together with another company, Smart Motors, a Spanish software company. Continuing on this debate on the power of digital to inspire real passenger confidence, we'll be talking about digital nudge for social distancing, how to convince the passengers to behave in certain ways using digital. So we have speakers from SBB, RATP from Paris, Passenger, Smart Motors, and the debate will be moderated by PricewaterhouseCoopers. So I hope you can all join us for the next session. Thank you very much for participating. Thank you to speakers, to Mark, and special thanks to the sponsor, Advantech, for making this webinar possible. Thank you to the audience. And I look forward to seeing you all at the next session in October. So good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.